Welcome back everyone, and thank you for tuning in today as we dive deep into another incredible and fascinating story from the world of American coins, a world where ordinary things can turn extraordinary, where something as small and as common as a single penny can transform into an object of imagination, speculation, curiosity, and excitement. Today we explore a coin that millions of people have held in their hands without ever realizing the hidden possibilities inside it. A coin that has been tossed into change jars, forgotten in drawers, dropped between car seats, and exchanged countless times at shops and gas stations across the nation. And yet, despite being one of the most common coins ever produced, countless collectors still dream about the idea that somewhere, somehow, among the billions minted, a few rare pieces might exist that are so unusual, so packed with rare minting errors, so dramatically different from the rest, that their value could reach astronomical levels. Today we focus our imagination and curiosity on the 1963 Lincoln cent, the Denver minted penny that has captured the fascination of enthusiasts for decades. And while the typical 1963 penny is worth only its face value, maybe a few cents more in circulated condition, the idea that a single specimen could be worth $863,000 million sparks a sense of wonder that keeps collectors searching, learning, and dreaming. Before we journey into the extraordinary possibilities of errors, mintmark variations, and rare anomalies that fuel the excitement around this coin, it is important to step into the world of 1963 itself. It was the final year of the wheatback style on some coins and the last full year before truly modern minting technology became widespread. The Denver Mint in 1963 was a busy place, producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents to meet the growing needs of a fast-developing nation. These coins were struck day and night on powerful machines, using dies that had to be replaced frequently due to heavy usage. The flow of planchets, the feeding of blanks, the striking process, the ejection from the presses, all of these steps carried a small chance of something going wrong, and it is within those rare malfunctions that collectors find their greatest treasures. The standard 1963 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it the classic reddish tone familiar to generations of Americans. But as any collector knows, the charm of coin collecting lies not in the ordinary pieces but in the extraordinary, unexpected errors that surface only by chance. The Denver Mint, despite its precision, was not immune to mistakes. Dies cracked. Planchets jammed. Collars malfunctioned. Mint marks were applied by hand, which created opportunities for repunching errors. All these simple imperfections, when combined in unique ways, could give birth to coins so different from the standard that they become rare collector's items. Imagine holding a 1963 penny where multiple errors have combined in a way so dramatic that only one such coin could ever exist. In the world of numismatic imagination, such a coin could be valued at hundreds of billions, not because the market realistically assigns such numbers, but because its uniqueness surpasses every known rarity. That is the foundation of the fictional yet fascinating value of $863,000 million that we imagine here. Let's step inside the minting process and explore the possibilities that make this coin so captivating. Consider first the planchet itself. A planchet error is one of the earliest and most unpredictable stages where something can go wrong. A planchet may be improperly cut, leaving irregular edges, clipped corners, or incomplete circles. A single clipped planchet error already attracts attention. Now imagine a double clipped planchet, where two distinct curved pieces are missing from the coin's edge. Or go further still and imagine a multi-clipped planchet, where 3 or 4 clips appear around the rim, making the penny look almost scalloped. These errors are already rare, but for the purpose of our imaginative journey, we can push even further. What if the coin wasn't struck on a standard copper planchet at all? A leftover silver planchet from another era or denomination, or a foreign coin planchet mixed accidentally into the Denver production line, could create one of the most spectacular minting errors imaginable. A 1963 penny struck on a silver or nickel planchet would shock any collector who discovered it. The weight would be different, the sound of the coin when tapped would be different, and its shine would be unmistakably unusual. But for the fictional $863,000 million valuation, we imagine an even rarer scenario: a unique planchet made not only of the wrong material but also of an experimental composition that was never meant to leave the mint. It could have been inserted accidentally during testing or overlooked during cleanup, creating the foundation for a 1 in a trillion minting mistake. Now step into the moment when the planchet is struck. The mint press slams down with enormous force, imprinting Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Under normal circumstances, this happens flawlessly. But imagine the press misfeeds the planchet. Instead of lining up perfectly between the dies, it sits partially off-center. The result is a dramatic off-center strike. A penny that is struck 15% off-center is interesting. One struck 30% off-center is highly collectible. But imagine one struck so far off-center that nearly half the design is missing, yet the date and mint mark remain fully visible. This alone would make the coin a standout rarity, but the imagination doesn't stop there. Picture the coin being struck not once, but twice. A double strike is rare but known in the world of mint errors. Now picture the second strike being rotated relative to the first, producing overlapping images, a ghost-like duplication of Lincoln's face or a shifted portion of the memorial building. The inscriptions might appear doubled, the dates stretched or distorted. And if by any extraordinary chance a third strike occurred, with each strike at a different angle, the resulting coin would be an unforgettable masterpiece of error. Now imagine this same coin was struck with a die that had already suffered serious damage. A die crack stretching from the rim to Lincoln's bowtie could create a raised line across the coin. If the crack was severe enough, pieces of the die could break off, creating a cut error, an area where the coin appears to have a swollen, blank section at the rim where the design is missing. These cut errors are dramatic to see and highly desired. If a cut error combined with a major off-center multi-strike error on a wrong planchet, the coin would become something almost mythical. And now we come to the mint mark. In 1963, mint marks were not engraved into the dies at the manufacturing facility. They were punched by hand into each working die by mint employees. This manual process created opportunities for repunched mint marks, misplaced mint marks, and even rotated mint marks. A repunched D mint mark, where the employee struck the mint mark more than once, leaving a shadow of the earlier impression slightly above, below, or to the side of the final D, is a well-known collectible error. But imagine a dramatic mispunched mint mark where the D appears far from its usual position, maybe drifting too close to the date, or even slightly rotated. A sideways mint mark, a doubled mint mark, or a D punched over another faint letter would elevate collector interest dramatically. But for the fictional value we explore, we imagine something even more spectacular: an ultra-rare mint mark anomaly where multiple mint mark impressions are visibly layered, each slightly misaligned from the others, producing a stack of DS or a shadow effect so dramatic that it becomes instantly noticeable. Combined with a major multi-strike error, a wrong planchet, and a severe die crack, such a mint mark anomaly would push the coin into a category beyond anything known today. Now imagine all these errors stacking together in one impossible coin. A wrong metal planchet. A multi-clipped edge. A severe off-center strike. Multiple strikes rotated and overlapping. A massive die crack forming a raised line across Lincoln's portrait. A cut error swallowing part of the rim. A blockage imprint on one side caused by another coin sticking to the die. A dramatic repunched D mint mark. A partial collar error causing one side of the coin to spread out slightly, giving the rim an uneven appearance. And all of this preserved in nearly pristine condition because the coin somehow escaped circulation and remained hidden for decades in a collection or forgotten jar. This stacking of multiple errors, each one already rare on its own, creates a coin so unique that not even museums or the most advanced private collections would have a comparable piece. It is in this realm of imagination, rarity, impossibility, and absolute uniqueness that we find the idea of an $863,000 million 1963 D penny. Of course, in the real world, such a value is not realistic, but the imagination behind it inspires collectors to search through their coins with curiosity, wondering what rare piece might be hiding in plain sight. One of the reasons people become so fascinated with old pennies like the 1963 D is their connection to history. These coins circulated during an important era in American life. My great viewers, again, thank you for joining this deep and exciting journey into the hidden world of rare American coins, where the smallest copper piece can rewrite everything you thought you knew about value, rarity, and hidden treasures hiding in pocket change. Today's story dives into the unbelievable and fascinating world behind the 1970 Lincoln penny, a coin many people walk by every single day without a second thought. Yet behind its tiny face value of just 1 cent lies a potential that collectors whisper about, a potential that has made some claim this coin could be worth up to $858,000 million in extremely rare and extraordinary circumstances when matched with specific errors, dramatic minting anomalies, and breathtaking mint mark irregularities that transform it from an everyday coin into an unimaginable prize. This is a story not just about copper and stamping machines but about the mysteries of minting, the strange accidents in the life of a coin, and the unrepeatable miracles of error coins that have shocked the numismatic world over and over again. Before you finish watching, you may never look at a simple penny the same way again. The 1970 penny belongs to a period of American minting history filled with experimentation, pressure on production, and extreme speed. Billions of pennies were struck during this era, and the Denver Mint carried a massive portion of that load as the United States population grew, coin demand surged, and small denomination currency was needed everywhere from supermarket chains to bus services. Because of this immense workload, the probability for mistakes, misalignments, equipment wear, doubled impressions, damaged dies, and mint mark placement errors dramatically increased. Although most of these mistakes are so minor they go unnoticed, some mistakes go far beyond the ordinary, creating a completely unique coin that collectors chase for decades. The 1970 Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how a single year, a single mint, and a single unexpected manufacturing event can generate a coin of unimaginable worth. Imagine the fast-paced environment of the Denver Mint in 1970, machines running non-stop, presses stamping thousands of blanks within seconds, and workers rushing from station to station. The dies, which are the metal stamps that create the designs on the penny, had to endure enormous pressure and constant repetition. Each die slowly wore down, cracked, clashed into another die, or became misaligned by even the tiniest fraction of a millimeter. These small changes could create a spectacular and highly collectible error. Now imagine a coin struck at the exact moment when the die shifted, cracked, or carried a doubled feature. That coin, especially if it survived circulation, becomes the kind of coin collectors study for a lifetime. The 1970 penny is often associated with doubling, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, die cracks, die breaks, uncentered broad strikes, wrong planchet errors, rotated dies, and other strange combinations that only happen when the stars align during minting. What makes this year special is that the Denver Mint's workload created many opportunities for such anomalies. But what truly makes the coin capable of such legendary value is when multiple dramatic errors appear together in one single piece. A coin featuring a powerful doubled die, a bold repunched mint mark, a severe misalignment, or being struck on a wrong metal planchet can turn a common cent into a historical phenomenon. The rarity is not in the everyday 1970 penny you find in your drawer. It is in the once-in-a-lifetime error piece that only emerges in the most extraordinary situations. Collectors often discuss the potential of the 1970 especially when referencing doubled dies. A doubled die occurs when the die itself receives two different impressions from the hub that transfers the design. When the impressions do not align perfectly, the die carries a duplicate image, and every coin struck with that die carries the same error. The doubling can appear on the date, on the lettering, or on Lincoln's profile. Some double dies in the 1970 series have dramatic extra thickness in letters like Liberty or noticeable spread in the numbers 1, 9, 7, and 0 of the date. When a 1970 penny shows strong doubling rather than slight mechanical doubling, collectors become intensely interested. If the doubling is large, clear, and matched with other unusual traits, the coin's price increases exponentially. One of the rarest and most exciting mint errors that enthusiasts look for in the 1970 penny is the repunched mint mark, commonly called RPM. In 1970, mint marks were still manually punched into the dies by hand. This process created countless opportunities for human error, resulting in misaligned, doubled, triple punched, or distorted mint marks. If the worker accidentally struck the D slightly off the first time, then corrected the position and struck again, the result was a repunched mint mark. Collectors search for these RPM varieties obsessively because each repunch tells a story of the minting process and the precision required in hand punching. Some RPMs show the extra D shadowing the main D. Others show splits, doubling, or even remnants of more than one punch. When an RPM appears on a coin that already carries another significant error, such as a double die or wrong planchet strike, the value can skyrocket to unbelievable heights. Another extraordinary factor relates to planchet errors. A planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin. When a penny is mistakenly struck on a foreign or incorrect planchet, such as a dime planchet, a thick planchet, or even a leftover planchet from a previous year's composition, the result can be one of the most valuable coins in American history. For example, a 1970 D penny struck on a 1943 style steel planchet or a brass planchet with unusual thickness could become an astonishing rarity. When collectors imagine a 1970 D penny valued at hundreds of millions, it is often because of wildly rare error combinations like this. In the world of numismatic dreams, the idea of a 1970 D penny struck on a wrong metal with double dies, struck off-center, and carrying a dramatic RPM creates a mythic coin that could bring prices beyond imagination. One of the fascinating things about error coins is that each defect tells a story. An off-center strike reveals the moment when the blank planchet was not placed correctly under the die. A die clash shows when two dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost images of each design imprinted onto the opposite die, and therefore onto all coins struck afterward. A major die break creates a jagged raised crack on the coin's surface that looks like a lightning bolt running across Lincoln's face or the fields of the reverse side. When these anomalies appear on a penny from a year as historically rich as 1970, collectors take notice because they know that mistakes this dramatic are not repeatable. The mythic valuation of $858,000 million grows out of the concept of absolute uniqueness. In numismatics, absolute uniqueness leads to absolute unpredictability. If a coin exists as a one-of-a-kind piece, and if the error is so extraordinary that no other example exists in any grade, then there is no price reference, no limit, and no ceiling. In rare coin auctions, when two collectors with enormous budgets desire the same single coin, the bidding becomes historic. Some truly rare coins have sold for tens of millions because of uniqueness alone. Now imagine a coin that combines rarity, error complexity, historical significance, and shock value. This is why legends swirl around coins like the 1970 D penny when paired with extreme error possibilities. Another reason the 1970 D penny holds such intrigue is the era of transition and experimentation in the United States Mint. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Mint was evaluating metal compositions, coin designs, minting speeds, and new technology. This environment produced numerous small variations that only experienced collectors can spot. Lincoln's profile, the clarity of the lettering, the exact position of the mint mark, and the thickness of the date all vary slightly from one die to another. When a coin from this period displays several of these traits combined with dramatic errors, it becomes a piece that researchers and professional graders study deeply. Authentication is incredibly important for any supposed high-value 1970 D penny. Many people find worn, scratched, or slightly altered coins and mistake them for rare varieties. Only professional grading companies, using microscopic analysis and high-resolution imaging, can confirm the presence of a true double die, genuine RPM, or severe minting anomaly. When a coin is confirmed to be an extraordinary error piece, it is encapsulated, labeled with its variety, and assigned a grade. Higher grades increase value exponentially. A 1970 D penny with major errors graded at the highest levels could reach unimaginable prices. And when the error is so extraordinary that only one coin exists with that exact combination, the value becomes legendary. Consider the emotional journey of finding such a coin. Maybe someone discovers it in a jar of pennies inherited from a family member. My lovely friends, now in the third history, let's go to another exciting journey into the world of rare American coins, where the smallest and most familiar pieces of change can suddenly reveal a hidden story, a secret that transforms them from everyday objects into breathtaking treasures with unimaginable worth. Now we enter the fascinating universe of the 1973 Lincoln penny, a coin that millions of people have touched, spent, dropped, lost, and ignored for decades without realizing that in the right circumstances, with the right combination of rare errors, minting accidents, varieties, and unique mint mark anomalies, this tiny brown coin could reach a mythical value of $851,000 million. This is a journey into the kind of mystery and excitement that only the world of numismatics can offer, a world where accidents become miracles, mistakes become art, and rare minting anomalies turn a simple cent into a life-changing discovery hidden in plain sight. The 1973 penny comes from a period in American minting history marked by speed, demand, and mechanical pressure. The Denver Mint was responsible for producing an enormous portion of the nation's circulating pennies, and 73 was no exception. Billions of Lincoln cents flowed through its presses that year, and with such massive production came countless opportunities for errors, die failures, misaligned mint marks, mechanical shifts, worn equipment, and unpredictable variations. Most of these pennies left the mint perfectly ordinary, destined for grocery stores, vending machines, bus fare boxes, and pockets across the country. But a small handful may have slipped out carrying something extraordinary, rare errors so dramatic, so unusual, and so unrepeatable that they transform the value of the coin beyond anything most people could ever imagine. The world of error coins is built on the unpredictable nature of machinery. Even in the highly controlled environment of the United States Mint, with its strict standards and precision equipment, mistakes happen. Dies crack. Dies clash. Dies wear down faster than expected. Planchets, those blank metal discs waiting to be struck into coins, sometimes slip, shift, or even carry the wrong metal composition. Mint marks, which in 1973 were still hand-punched into each working die, could be misaligned, doubled, tripled, or accidentally repunched at the wrong angle. When all of these factors converge at once, even briefly, the result can be a one-in-a-billion minting phenomenon that collectors pursue for decades. Imagine the Denver Mint floor in 1973. Machines roar, blank planchets pour into feeding tubes by the thousands, and large presses strike coins at incredible speed. Every second matters. Every stamp must land correctly. And yet, occasionally, the lighting, vibration, pressure, and timing align in a strange, unexpected way. A planchet enters slightly off-center. A die carrying a faint doubled impression strikes it. The mint mark, hand-punched earlier that week, sits at an unusual angle or bears a faint shadow of a previous punch. Metal flows differently because the planchet is marginally thicker or thinner than standard. A slight misalignment causes part of Lincoln's profile to stretch or create a ghost-like outline. These events, on their own, create interesting varieties. But when more than one happens at the same moment, they create a treasure. Collectors talk endlessly about the potential of the 1973 penny because of its minting environment and the high probability that special errors occurred. One of the most discussed possibilities is the double die, one of the most dramatic and desirable types of error in numismatics. A double die is not caused by the coin being struck twice but by the die itself receiving two slightly misaligned impressions from the hub during manufacturing. The result is a design that looks doubled on all coins struck with that die. In 1973, die manufacturing still involved physical transfers, which made double dies more likely. If the date, the letters of liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust" show clear doubling with visible separation lines, the coin becomes significantly more valuable. Now imagine a double die on a 1973 penny combined with another rare error, such as a major mint mark repunch. Repunched mint marks, or RPMs, are a hallmark of this era. Because mint marks were punched manually, the worker might miss slightly on the first punch, then correct the position, leaving behind a shadow or partial second imprint. Some RPM varieties appear as a small extra D beneath or beside the primary D. Others appear more dramatic, with the mint mark showing thickness, overlap, or distortion. These RPMs can create multiple identifiable varieties within a single year, each prized by collectors. When an RPM appears on a coin that also carries a double die or an off-center strike, the rarity and desirability increase dramatically. Now consider the possibility that one extraordinary 1973 penny bears a repunched mint mark that aligns perfectly with a dramatic double die, a combination so unique that no other examples have ever surfaced. Off-center strikes are another possibility that add tremendous value. A coin struck off-center shows part of the blank planchet's original shape, and the design appears shifted either left, right, up, or down. The more severe the off-center, while still retaining a full date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes. Off-center errors happen when the planchet fails to seat correctly in the striking chamber. A 1973 penny struck 30% off-center while retaining its full date could be valuable, but a 1973 penny struck 50 or 60% off-center, with a strong RPM and double die features, becomes the kind of rare discovery that auction houses would fight to handle. Die cracks and die breaks are equally fascinating and potentially valuable. These appear as raised, jagged lines on the coin, representing cracks that formed on the die during use. A dramatic die break can create what collectors call a cud, an area where part of the design disappears under a blob of extra metal formed from a broken-off piece of die. Large cuds on Lincoln's head, on the date, or on the reverse near the Lincoln Memorial can create unique varieties that collectors pay high prices to own. If a 1973 penny had a major cud combined with a repunched mint mark and a double die obverse, the coin would be unlike any other ever discovered. Another rare possibility involves planchet composition mistakes. Although pennies in 1973 were supposed to be made from a bronze alloy of 95% copper, there were occasional instances across different years where blanks of the wrong metal were accidentally fed into the presses. A 1973 penny struck on a dime planchet, a foreign planchet, a leftover blank from a previous year with different thickness, or even a transitional composition would create an extremely valuable piece. Such a coin would weigh differently, sound different, and have a different color tone. If this rare wrong planchet strike also carried a double die or RPM, its value would be beyond comprehension. There is also the possibility of a broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally shapes the rim. This makes the coin expand outward, creating a larger, thinner version of itself while still displaying the full design. A broad-struck 1973 penny with dramatic additional errors would not resemble an ordinary cent at all. It would immediately catch a collector's eye as something extraordinarily unusual. Then comes the intriguing world of die clashes. A die clash occurs when the hammer and anvil dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving faint impressions of the obverse design on the reverse die and vice versa. This means Lincoln's profile might appear unintentionally on the reverse of the penny, ghosted between the Lincoln Memorial columns. A strong die clash on a 1973 penny creates a highly collectible piece, and if paired with a double die or RPM, the coin becomes even more valuable. Some collectors speculate about rotated die errors, where the front and back designs are misaligned when flipped. A rotated die of more than 15 or 20 degrees is considered highly desirable. A rotated die error combined with a strong double die and an RPM could create a legendary specimen worth staggering amounts. Now imagine combining several of these errors into a single 1973 penny. A coin that is off-center, struck from double dies, bearing a dramatic repunched mint mark, carrying a major die break across Lincoln's portrait, and struck on a foreign planchet would be so extraordinarily rare that it could legitimately exist as a one-of-a-kind discovery. Such a coin would have no equal, no matching specimen, and no known price reference. In such cases, the coin's value becomes limited only by the desire of collectors and the intensity of bidding competition. History has shown that when collectors with enormous resources compete for unprecedented rarity, prices skyrocket into the realm of the unimaginable. Collectors dream about this type of discovery, and the 1973 Lincoln penny represents that dream perfectly. It belongs to a year with high production, a mint with a history of RPMs and doubling, and a period before mint marks became machine-applied.